Hi there, I'm Gypsy, and this is Move Pilates, the Learning and Mastering series. We are working on part 2 of the Pilates mat series. The Pilates mat series has a long series of exercises. So far we've done part 1, this is part 2, and there will be a part 3 coming up. So you can take them in segments, depends on what you want to work on, but know to always work at your own pace. And if you're a beginner, some of these are a little bit more advanced. So just really stay with me, stay with the teaching. Remember, quality over quantity. All you're gonna need is your mat, yourself, your breath, and possibly some blankets. So let's get started. Picking up where we left off from our first series, we're gonna start on our belly today. Now, I don't need this, but some people do. If you have lower back injuries or any kind of lower back tightness, I want you to take a blanket and put it right in the center of your mat. And it depends on how you wanna fold it. What we're trying to do is get the apex of the pelvis to elevate up just a little bit. So for example, you're gonna put your pelvis on top of it, and depending on if you need more, you can always make it a little bit thicker, okay? So for me, I'm pretty flexible in my back. Know your gifts and your limits, and once you discover them, remember to honor them. So we're gonna come down into Sphinx pose and work on double leg kicks to the back. Excuse me, single leg kicks to the back, then double. So we start with single. Long torso, navel to spine, pelvic floor drawn up and in. So we're very aware of our powerhouse. Long neck as well. We're gonna take 2 in-breath counts and 1 long out-breath. We're gonna kick and point, heel and point the toe, and then extend the foot back out. So we have a heel, we have a toe, we have an extension. Here we go. Keep going with that breath, in, out. What this is doing is it's strengthening our hamstrings, our glutes, the gluteal folds, bringing balance. Careful you haven't shrunken in your shoulders, but you press down in the elbows. Lengthen through the back of the armpit muscles, as well as the triceps. 2 more. And the last one. It's a real feeling of lengthening there. Now we move into double leg stretch. So now both legs are gonna come up. You're gonna turn your head one direction and interlace your hands just behind your back. Okay. Now, in this position will be our inhale, to gather the energy we need. On an exhale, contract everything to the center and pull out to kick the legs and arms. Extend through the whole spine, crown of the head to the toes in one long streamed line. Here we go. Inhale, I'm gonna turn my head the other way. And release and relax, gather the energy, exhale, kick. Squeeze the back shoulders. Turn the head the other way, breathe in. And shoulders open. Now, some Pilates teachers teach to bounce the legs and kick 3 times with 1 pull. You can do that in some classes, but that's not how I like to teach. I like smooth. So if you're gonna practice with me today, we're gonna do it smooth. Smooth in-breath, relax. Big, strong out-breath. Squeeze the back body. And squeeze. 1 more. Good. Release and push back. to take any of the stress out of the lower back and just sit back into what's known as child's pose, sitting onto the heels just for a moment. I always like to just kind of swish my hips a little left and right, and that massages the kidneys, and we're actually working the inner organs of the body that way too. So inside of our pelvis, where we're working, we've got all these beautiful organs, and we want to take care of those organs, from the bladder to the reproductive organs. Yeah, nice, good. Now from here, we're going to come back up and sit. And this is going to be a little bit more difficult and challenging. So for beginners, I'm going to have you repeat the roll down that we did in the first exercise, which looks a little like this. Okay, with the arms. Okay, intermediate advanced, we're going to do what's called the neck pull. Sounds a little bit torturous, but it's actually quite good for the spine and one of my challenging exercises. So it's the same exercise as the roll down, but without using the arms, your hands are going to be on the back of your head. So you want to sit nice and tall up on those sit bones. On an exhale, rolling down. Inhale and exhale to come up. That's tough for me. And we're going to pull the neck down just towards the knees. This gets a nice stretch on the back of the cervical spine. Lift up and inhale. Push back just a little bit here. It's almost like you're going to lean back into the sunshine. And keep the belly and the ribs flat. And when you can't hold it any longer, control down to the ground. Here we go. These are tough. Keep lengthening. And then move forward. And do 2 more. Get tall, ribs in. Last one. We're going to stay up on this one and release the arms. That one to me is one of my biggest challenges. I've had a lot of whiplash and neck injuries. So when I feel my neck being stretched, that feels really good, but it also challenges my inner strength. So every day is different. Just remember to keep practicing. Now we move into what's called the spine twist. I would advise, if it's hard for you to sit up in a neutral pelvis, again, to sit up onto a blanket. We're going to flex the feet and keep the distance nice and square in the hips. The arms are going to come out and the ribs are going to stay tight and in. Here we have a 2-count breath in and 1 big exhale right into the center. To tighten and lift the pelvic floor up. So we breathe in 2 to twist. Keep going. Good, now continue your breath. I'm just going to talk a little bit more. What I want you to keep in mind is that the legs are grounded and anchored. So you don't have the legs turning or the hips twisting like that, but they are part of the floor. 3 more. Last one. And relax. Good. Now, we're gonna move up into the air. No blankets necessary. Laying down onto the back. This is not for those of you that have a lot of neck injuries, or if you don't like being inverted and going upside down, this is definitely one that you want to skip. Okay, you can watch, maybe move up to it. We're gonna go up into the air in what's known as shoulder stand. In Pilates shoulder stand too, we wanna really make sure we keep the neck nice and open. As you can see, I have my fingers on under this side, yeah? And we want to be careful not to squish down onto the back of the neck because that's not good for it. So we want to press down on the back of the head instead and the back of the shoulder blades. So we're going to bring the legs up through tabletop from the belly, pelvic floor to help you and extend them to Pilates stance. Good. We're going to take them up and overhead. Bring the hands just behind the back to get them up in the air. Good. Neutral pelvis even here. As you can see, I'm not broken and I'm also not overdoing it, but just neutral. Good, so this first one is called the scissors. And we're gonna take a deep stretch, taking one leg apart and away from us. On the inhale, exhale, zip the legs back together. Really reach the leg away from you as opposed to towards the face, because this is not as difficult and we want to make it quality and challenging. Two more. Now, bicycle. It's the same feeling. Bicycling away from the body. So if you're really reaching out there, reach out in front of you. Almost like you have paintbrushes on your feet. You're trying to paint the ceiling and the wall way out there. Keep breathing. Good, now get ready to reverse. Bicycle backwards. And return. Roll yourself down. Slowly, slowly. Sit up just for a moment. Gonna lean back and let the neck open. The reason why we want to do this is to unwind that curve and go back to the natural curve in the cervical spine. And it just feels so good. Now, laying back down, we're going to come into a bridge. So those of you that missed that last exercise, this is what you can also start to focus on. These bridges, we're going to again use the same principles. Inner thighs, pelvic floor, come together and up, waistline down, space behind the neck to grow, and extend the arms out. It's also nice sometimes to use your elbows to press them down so that you can feel you can open the chest here and have some stability in the feet and in the sides of the triceps and the elbows and the shoulder blades. So whether you want to have your arms long or tilt them up, it's up to you. On a breath, we're going to exhale and press down through one leg, extend the other leg up. And we're going to drop these bridges down and up 3 times. Change sides, breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and press up. These are great because they're working the buttocks and the hamstrings. Step down, stand on one side and extend. Keep the space, ribs in, breathe in and out. just realized I've been a bad teacher because I could have told you that you could do this in tabletop instead of extending the leg. So maybe we do a few more of these just in tabletop. Feel the space. Inhale down, exhale. So you don't always have to have the legs straight up in order to work the standing side. Stand and breathe in. Breathe out. We'll do one more. And then slowly roll down. Let's hug the knees into the chest. And we're going to transition by sitting up and prepare for the leg pull up. Another one that's a little bit challenging, especially if you have tight shoulders. I'm going to take the hands and face the feet, and opening and lifting, we're going to come up and extend the legs out in front of us. So we're in one long plank. Looking down, zipping up the legs, and I'm going to draw the inner thighs up into the pubic bone. And the pubic bone up towards the navel, and the navel towards the back of your rib cage. Chin level with the ground. Good. Using your heel press energy, press down on one heel, and we draw the other leg up, exhaling. Inhale. Alternate sides. Trying to keep the hips stable and in the same place during the exercise. And release. Take a little stretch and drop the head. Now we'll do the leg pull up from a plank position. So transfer yourself over, come into a plank, hands and wrist in alignment with the shoulders, navel pulls in, and we're gonna step back into plank. From the crown of the head to the heels and the tailbone is one long line. Now we take one leg up on an inhale, and we use our Achilles heel to exhale back and forward. Try that on the other side. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale back. And change. Inhale. And again. And come down, knees, and rest. Open the knees, walk the hands out. I felt that one. I definitely started sweating on this. So let's take a moment and drop the head in child's pose. Look forward. Bring yourself back up into a plank position. Take a moment, come into side plank. And if you need to, bring this knee down. Okay, just to feel that. Hold, okay? Good, now we're gonna drop the hip. And come into a mermaid lift. So this is going to be pressing up on the lower hip from underneath. We're going to lift that top hip up When you're ready, sweep this arm overhead and get a nice curve in the rib cage in the side body. Using these muscles under the shoulder instead of the neck. Release, come down, look towards the feet. Press up from the bottom hip. Inhale and exhale. Whoa, it's a tough one. We'll do one more. Sweep that arm up. And then we'll come back in and have a seat. Stretch the arm. Look over your shoulder and draw that shoulder blade down. That way you can get out of that strength and into some length. So that's what Pilates is so good for, is it balances length and strength, mobility and flexibility. Good. If you felt that in your wrist, just roll it around a little bit. And then let's take the arm up behind our head, grab the elbow and open. And I'm just sitting in a little double hook pose. You can sit however you feel comfortable. And shoulders roll and release. You might notice just before we get to the second side, how the shoulder that you were actually using feels softer and more warm compared to this side. So it's kind of interesting how the stability creates safetyness, a safety net, excuse me. So let's switch sides. You're gonna stack the feet. Come up so that the wrist is underneath your shoulder. Okay, you're gonna sink that hip down. You can even look towards your feet a little bit here. Okay, so on an exhale, press through. Extend that arm up. Really get the arch in the rib cage. Lengthen the neck. Open the ribs. Good, and then come down so you stretch the lower side. Strengthen. Lengthen. Strengthen. Press from the bottom. And lengthen. Whoa. One more. And come down. For a stretch, bring that arm across the body. I'm definitely sweating now. Look away into the shoulder. Keep it down a little bit lower than your neckline. If you felt it in your wrist, you can just unwind that a little bit. And then bring the arm behind you and open that shoulder blade up. Press the head back so you're not crunching forward, but we stay nice and tall and lifted and open. Feels so good. Yeah. And release. Good. Now, we're gonna move into one of my favorites, and it's called the Jackknife. So the Jackknife is a little bit like if you've ever seen a knife open and close, this is what this one will look like. So we're getting a little bit more again into the advanced series, but I think if you've got enough momentum and you're feeling really strong right now, you can try this one at home. Otherwise, you can try the double leg pull like we did in the first part one. So Jackknife is gonna start on the back with the legs in 90 degrees, Pilates stance. We're gonna be sweeping them up and over, almost like we're doing shoulder stand, but there's gonna be a little bit of a break in them. So important is to press down the back of the body, the wisdom back there. We're gonna inhale to prepare, the legs away. Exhale, the legs are gonna go back and up. Space in the neck, then down and slowly control like you're doing the roll down to come home. So we have back snap them up. Slowly control and down. Okay, inhale, exhale. A lot of core work for this one. 2 more. Focus on tightening the abdominals. Keep them tight even as you inhale. Breathe in the diaphragm. Slowly bend the knees. Take a moment here, roll the legs and then around in a few circles, coming towards the end of our part 2. Relax the abdominal wall, the pelvic floor. Circle your ankles, circle your wrists. Take a nice stretch. And then gently roll over onto your side body and come up to sit. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed that. So I hope to see you again. We have part 3 coming up of the Pilates mat series.